So this is the first lesson on completing the square, and this is about solving quadratic equations without actually either having to use A, the formula, or B, factorise it. And we're going to go through two scenarios. We're going to go through when the coefficient of x squared is 1, and we'll go through when the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1. So here we go. So here's our quadratic. It's x squared plus 4x plus 2 equals 0. And the way we do this is we always look at the coefficient of the x term. And the reason we do that is because that is the number that we're going to halve. Now, if you think about expanding a plus b all squared, I've got it here written on the side, we've got a plus b all squared goes to a squared plus twice ab plus b squared. So this bit in the middle here is always going to be twice what's in front of a times b. So here is, so we've got 4 over 2 because that's 4, we're going to halve it, plus 2, that goes there. Now when we expand this, we're going to end up with a b squared, okay, or in this case 4 over 2 all squared, which we don't actually want. So we then must remember to subtract it. So obviously we know 4 over 2 is just 2, so that becomes x plus 2, that becomes 2, 4 over 2 is 2, square it is 4, so that becomes negative 2. So therefore I end up with x plus 2 all squared equals 2. And then doing the square root, remembering of course that you have to count for both the positive and the negative solutions, we can then rearrange it and get x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2. So that's our first situation. So the next one is when we're going to look at where x squared is greater than 1. Now you may think, well, why are we not looking at when the coefficient of x squared is negative? And the reason being is you can always rearrange it so that the coefficient of x squared will be positive. So here we go. We've got 2x squared plus 6x plus 1, and it doesn't factorise, so we're going to do the same. We're going to work through the situation for this one. Now the first thing we want to do is get rid of this 2, and that's the big difference between this way and the previous way, that we actually want to get rid of that. And there's this way we can do it. We can actually divide throughout by 2. So we get x squared, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, becomes 6 over 2x plus 1 over 2. So that gives us 3x plus a half. Now remember, we take that coefficient of x and we divide it by 2. So we get x plus 3 over 2 all squared plus the half, that's where that one comes from, minus that 3 over 2 all squared. So that becomes x plus 3 over 2 all squared plus a half minus 9 quarters. X plus 3 over 2 all squared is 7 quarters, minus 7 quarters, because we combine those, moving it across, doing plus or minus, and then solution. So that's how we can do it. Another way you could have done this one is to actually factorise this, and then basically you then complete the square inside the brackets and then multiply out at the end. Either way, you're going to end up with the same solution for x. That concludes this lesson, and the next lesson is going to be on looking at completing the square for the formula and proof of finding the quadratic formula.